Trumpcast is brought to you today by Texture. Get access to your favorite magazines all in one place. Learn about Texture and start your free trial today by going to texture.com/Trumpcast.
The following podcast contains explicit language.
He has a lot of great ideas.
He's not a stupid man. He's worth $9 billion.
I feel like our country is going down the drain.
He's actually a very intelligent man who cares deeply about America.
There is no question that this is the person who will go to Washington, D.C. and be able to absolutely turn the place around.
Hello and welcome to Trumpcast, the show about the man whose cybersecurity advisor is his 10-year-old son, Barron. I'm Jacob Weisberg. So can we talk for a minute about Alicia Mercado? She's the 1996 winner of the Miss Universe beauty contest that Donald Trump owns and that NBC dropped last year because of Trump's racist comments about Mexicans. Hillary Clinton talked about her in the debate on Tuesday night. Trump liked to call her Miss Piggy and Miss Housekeeping, mocking her weight gain and her Latino heritage. Trump didn't deny any of that. "Where did you find this? Where did you find this?" he kept saying to Hillary. Mercado herself had more to say after the debate. Trump called her ugly. He called her fat. He went on Howard Stern and called her an eating machine. The only reason he didn't cyberbully her is that it hadn't been invented yet. The abuse helped give her an eating disorder. "He always treated me like a little thing," Mercado said in a conference call with reporters. "He treated me like trash." By the way, Mercado says she gained about 15 pounds. Now, this woman is standing up for herself and standing up to Donald Trump. So what does Trump do? He went on Fox News the next morning and insulted Alicia Mercado some more. She was the winner and she gained a massive amount of weight, and it was a real problem. We had a real problem. Not only that, her attitude. We had a real problem with her. You can just tell this is one of those grudges Trump will never let go of. Like Kazir and Ghazala Khan. Like Rosie O'Donnell. Like Judge Curiel. It's funny how the people Trump can't bear to have challenge him are almost always women or members of minority groups, or both. Is there a pattern here? My guest today might have some insight. She's Nell Irvin Painter, an emeritus professor at Princeton and the author of books including Creating Black Americans and the History of White People. She's also a participant in a project called Historians on Donald Trump on Facebook. Hers is one of the most popular videos. I'll be back with her right after we do the tweets.
Bernie Sanders gave Hillary the Democratic nomination when he gave up on the emails. That issue has only gotten bigger. Many on the team and staff of Bernie Sanders have been treated badly by the Hillary Clinton campaign, and they like Trump on trade a lot. The Senator Ted Cruz endorsement was a wonderful surprise. I greatly appreciate his support. We will have a tremendous victory on November 8th. If dopey Mark Cuban of failed benefactor fame wants to sit in the front row, perhaps I will put Jennifer Flowers right alongside of him. Highly untalented Washington Post blogger Jennifer Rubin, a real dummy, never writes fairly about me. Why does Washington Post have low IQ people?
Today's episode of Trumpcast is brought to you by Texture. You know that feeling when you're at a magazine store or in the airport at the newsstand and you're looking down the rack and you kind of want to try them all? You want to look at, if you're me, Runner's World and Yoga Journal and Wine Enthusiast and Vanity Fair and The New Yorker. Well, you can do that now. Texture has completely reimagined magazines, giving you the articles and stories you want from all those magazines, dozens of magazines, hundreds of magazines, all in one place, plus interactive features, videos, and recommendations just for you. The Texture app lets you tap into the world's most popular magazines anytime, anywhere on your smartphone or tablet. You can breeze through hundreds of your favorite magazines, including the back issues, and pick the articles that interest you most without taking a shopping bag that weighs 60 pounds full of magazines onto the airplane. Texture's made it easy to find the articles you care about. So I get to read the magazines I already read, like some of the ones I just mentioned, but also try a lot of new ones. The Texture editorial team recommends content for me every day, so I can dive deeper in with personalized collections. Sign up for Texture right now and get insider access to all of the content from the world's best publications. And the best part, Texture is offering my listeners a free trial right now when you go to texture.com/Trumpcast. You'll gain immediate entry to all of the top magazines, including the back issues and bonus video content. Start your binge reading right now for free when you go to texture.com/Trumpcast. That's texture.com/Trumpcast. My guest today is Nell Irvin Painter. She is an emeritus professor of history at Princeton and the author of several books, including Creating Black Americans and the History of White People. Professor Painter, welcome to Trumpcast.
Thank you.
So you said in your video that without Barack Obama as president, there would not be Donald Trump as the Republican presidential nominee.
I did.
Why do you say that?
Yeah, I said that Donald Trump is a result of Barack Obama as president. And that is a kind of oversimplification, but it includes a large kernel of truth. And that is that we have a long tradition in this country of violent reaction against changes in the racial status quo, in which Black people and people of color are supposed to be at the bottom and not supposed to be jostling white people for power or visibility or beauty or any of the other perquisites of whiteness. So in my video, I mentioned just a few of the many instances of this lashing out against, for instance, Black civil rights in the 1960s, like the church bombing in 1963 that killed 3 children. So my point there is that Barack Obama as president is like a gigantic red flag for people who want everything to stay the same. And so Donald Trump is an example of the lashing out, and he's a big lashing out after a big provocation, you might say. I don't mean to say that the presidency of Barack Obama can be summed up as a provocation against white supremacy, but that's one part of it, and it helps to explain why, of all the people who have suffered since 2008 or in the 21st century, it's primarily white people who have flocked to Donald Trump. There are plenty of Black people and Latino people and other people of color who have suffered longer and deeper in terms of economics, but they see the other part of Donald Trump's message, which is a white supremacist message.
And surely white supremacy is a component of Trump's support. I mean, you've seen it very clearly in the sort of alt-right supporters. How do you determine how big a component it is? Because they're clearly components that are not purely or merely white backlash or racism.
This is true. And I said in my video that this is part of his attraction, whether it's part of his attraction for each person or part of his attraction for various segments of his support. That is to be ascertained person by person. I don't mean to say that everyone who supports Donald Trump is either a white supremacist or supports white supremacy, but I do mean to say that without white supremacy, you would not have so huge, as what Donald Trump might say, wave of support for him.
Although I guess you also have to ask, Professor Pater, is white supremacy or racism a feature or a bug in Donald Trump's campaign? That is, if you had a populist, nationalist, something like Donald Trump, who didn't express the kind of racial sentiment he does, would he be more popular or less popular?
Probably less popular. I mean, we had many other people running for president in a Republican primary, so there was a lot of choice. There were all sorts of alternatives to him, and this is the one that got the most traction.
One thing that's notable about Trump's racism is that the explicit racism is directed mainly against Latinos and Muslims and not against African Americans. Do you agree with that? And if you do or if you don't, why do you think that is?
I think that there's been enough agitation around race as black to warn off people speaking politically. There's been less inoculation against bigotry aimed at others. That's part of it. But